let's talk about Jeremy Carver. So Jeremy Carver, who is the showrunner, one of the executive producers on Doom Patrol, the show that is currently airing or starting to air, I believe, the second half of its fourth and final season, what they're calling season 4B. Um, a show that I like to, I keep saying it, it's the best superhero show you have never heard of. Because if you were like are watching Loki right now, season two, or if you really enjoyed, Miss Marvel, or if you really enjoyed Peacemaker, and you have not seen Doom Patrol, go watch Doom Patrol. Like, go watch all the first three seasons, go catch up on season four, and then watch the last half of season four as it airs. It's really, one of those franchise. It's one of those shows, one of those franchises you can call it, I guess, that played into I think Brendan Fraser's resurgence in Hollywood. It's got Matt Bomber in it. It's got Timothy Dalton, a former James Bond 007. There's so many other fantastic actors in this show. But now Jeremy Carver, who's the executive producer of Doom Patrol, who's done other DC work, but this I think is probably his most iconic, if you will. And he, for a show that's relatively unknown still, I think once people do discover it, they more often like it than not like it because of how amazingly insane this show is. Well, Carver recently has been teasing that the ending of season four is not going to end with a cliffhanger like a lot of shows tend to do. Why? Because they seem to have read the writing on the wall when they were, seeing James Gunn and Peter Safran come in and take over with DC Studios. And even before that, David Zaslav saying there's going to be a DC Studios. We're going to have a 10-year plan. So much like the Arrowverse just wrapped up with The Flash with his final season, and Superman and Lois is kind of, they're working on their fourth and final season. It looks like Doom Patrol, they had some foresight and they're going to give us a pretty satisfying ending. So, John, what are you hearing about this? What did Jeremy Carver say specifically, and what does this mean for all of us fans of Doom Patrol?
Well, he did specifically say our number one priority was going out on our terms with a satisfying ending and, most importantly, character arcs that felt considered, earned, and unrushed. And I feel like that's a good thing to have. Kind of like what happened with Stargirl, which was another originally DC Universe show that got, you know, out of that once DC Universe became strictly comics.
Yeah, that short-lived
So,
DC streaming service.
yeah,
Ill-fated DC
RIP.
streaming service. Yeah.
But Stargirl also had sort of a open-ended but satisfying ending. Like they ended it on a good note, but like if they wanted to make animated stuff or somehow continue the show or with comics with anything, they could do that, but it also served as an extremely satisfying ending for fans. I was very satisfied because I loved Stargirl. That was such a great show. I was so happy with how that ended. And I feel like this could be Doom Patrol as well because told the executive producers and showrunners of Stargirl, yeah, season three, that's going to be your last season. So, like, okay, let's do something satisfying. And I'm very, very happy that Doom Patrol, Jeremy Carver, is also aware of that. I don't know if they were strictly told that, like, they're like, yeah, this is going to be the final season, but they're smart enough to know, as you said, with Peter Safran, James Gunn, DC Studios, Zaslav coming in, they're like, yeah, this is gonna be it. So I'm very happy to see that it's at least going to end. Either have like a nice, like Western style ending, they all go off into the sunset, have a happy ending. They'll all either do that or just be like oh, the Doom Patrol will continue, even though we won't get to see it, will continue. Or they're just gonna pull the rug out from under us and just kill everybody because just like it's sort of like a mass sort of like funny ending where it's like, oh well, okay, we're ending, well, everybody's gonna die. Who knows how it's actually gonna end, but I do hope that that he does stay true to his word, that it is going to end properly, and I have a strong feeling that it will. And I don't know if it'll be as strong as Stargirl because I can't recommend that show enough and say how great that ending was. But I do think that Doom Patrol will have its way and we'll get a good ending to all these characters we love so much.
Yeah, it's a show that, quite frankly, I think grows on you. It's something that I initially started watching back when it was still on DC Universe, and I think like literally months into me signing up for DC Universe, they were rolling it into HBO Max, and saying, "Hey, move over and watch that over there." And my DC Universe subscription expired, and then I just had to like watch the from then onwards on HBO Max, and I've always kind of enjoyed. I think I was hooked on that show for a little bit because I by the time I signed up to start watching, it was right between like when season one had had already mostly aired, and then season two was basically on its way. So I kind of caught it at the right time so that I can catch up on season one, and then like here comes season two. So I was on this like huge Doom Patrol binge, and I'm like I fell behind, but like I'm gonna be catching up pretty quickly because this is the type of
Yeah,
show
same here.
you put it on at midnight, you might be up until 7 a.m. like finishing the one season, and then you're like, all right, well, you know what, gotta get some rest, and then I'm right back on the horse, and I'll go watch the next
Definitely.
season. It's very watchable. It's supremely entertaining. It's a show that, quite frankly, I'm a little sad that it's gonna come to an end because of like just the amount of quality that is on display from the costumes. I mean, you get a very different version of Cyborg here than what we got in the Zack Snyder movies, and that I think was a good thing because it just goes to show you you can do the same, you can do one character two very different ways. And while we have seen in infinite iterations of Batman on screen, or multiple iterations of Superman, and like some of these other like the Flash, we haven't necessarily seen like multiple live action versions of Cyborg. So you kind of see a different version than like the super high tech version that on a hundreds of millions of dollars of a budget, feature movie budget, but doing it like much more, more of a TV without as much CGI, and yet creating a character that's very relatable. And kudos to the actor in the role, as Jovian Wade, as well as, of course, the writers and the directors and everybody in the show. And of course, Robot Man, like he's played by two people. Like I'm forgetting the name of the person who's usually in the actual costume,
Right.
but Brendan Fraser, of course, is the one who voices him when he's looking like a robot, and then there's scenes when Brendan Fraser's on camera. Um, I can so completely see, by the way, that this show will probably end with like them all like somehow like not even like building up to it like Rogue One or Logan did, like a true Western like does, where like the hero's sort of on this like righteous path, and they're probably not going to survive this journey. It's probably gonna be more of like the way they killed off characters in Suicide Squad movies, especially the Suicide Squad with James Gunn. They're like, oh well, he's dead. Like moving on. Bring in the next group of people. It's probably gonna feel like that, where we're just gonna like accidentally like see these people die off at the end of the show for like
Yeah, that
one
would be
last
really
good
funny.
laugh. And then maybe like one of the voices of God, one of them will be like the voice of God, like saying, "Oh well, that was fun while it lasted," and then cut to black, or fade to
Yeah,
black, or whatever. Either that, or they'll leave it pretty open ended. All right, guys, well, on to the next one, and then instead of getting a Doom Patrol will return, we'll probably just get the credits. And regardless of which way that goes, I can tell you like that this show is quite frankly a feather in the cap of DC as far as being one of the high points from the from the larger DC franchise as a whole over the last 10 years. And there's a lot to be learned from how they put this show together. And I'm pretty sure because of the work that Jeremy Carver and his team have done on this show, that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to keep them involved in the future of DC. And probably a lot of the actors from this show will be involved in the future of DC, whether they're playing different characters in the new DCU, or maybe we get to see this Doom Patrol team come back in some kind of multiverse or Elseworlds sort of a story. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes, because I certainly
definitely.
hope, and I like to think, that this is not the last of the Doom Patrol that we have seen, because of how good it is and because of how strange it is. And James Gunn loves his strange characters, so I can only imagine we will probably get to see more of it in the future, and or suddenly maybe something similar, maybe same actors, different characters, or a new iteration of them, something like that. So guys, let us know in the comments below what you think. Doom Patrol looks like it's gonna have a proper ending, something that's gonna tie it up in a bow, a metaphorical bow of some kind, maybe a literal bow. I wouldn't put that past the guys on the show. So let us know in the comments what you think, and of course, like and subscribe for more content like this, we are here each and every day with DCU content, whether it's reviews, previews, analysis, breaking news coverage, all that and so much more, all things DC.